Welcome back to Hopper's Hot Rods. Today's going to be a quick one, and we're going to cover the trailer hitch. Now, there's class A, B, and 3 type hitches, and after a little close inspection, this one's got no class. It's maybe like a floating hitch. This is the kind of situation where something bad can happen. What? To the F is going on here. Look at these. What is this? It's supposed to be, it shouldn't be that. I mean, we got to go handheld. Now, I noticed this when I was trying to connect to the trailer. This is loose. And it looks like, I don't even know if you'll be able to see this, but somebody tack welded some washers between this plate and the frame with a 110 welder because that's all they had access to at the time. And it's held up for a couple of years, but those welds popped loose on both sides. I don't know if you can see this one any better. There's right here, there's some washers. And what was once a welded together little thing has now become a not so funny joke. All right, we need some hardware, need some welding gas, and we'll get this thing shipshape. Well, while I'm waiting for Lowe's to open so I can get the bolts I need, let's have a look at our cool new burnt to a crisp crankcase ventilation hose that's got copious amounts of oil in it, and you know, is fairly well, I guess, melted and destroyed. Okay, a little more to do on this project. I wonder why it's all, you know, crispy and destroyed. Those look a little hot too, but let's go to the other side. Maybe the other side, you know, didn't get quite as hot. Maybe the other side looks, oh, yeah, there may be a leak. I don't know if my eagle-eyed viewers can spot it, but there may be a tiny leak right there. These are the little carriage bolts that were used to line up the trailer hitch. And we're going up one size. We're going to use these black oxide Allen head bolts with nylock nuts so that they'll never vibrate loose. Even if they get a little loose somehow, the nut will never come off of them. We'll get one started, then we'll get the other one going, and then we will tighten everything up and line everything up and re-weld the welds that became, you know, unwelded. That's better, and not just a little bit. That is quite solid. And I haven't even welded these front tabs yet, so let me hit that with a grinder and put a decent bead up there, and this thing will be ready for another 20 years of service. That looks a bit more secure. I'm quite sure the comment section is rife with, oh yeah, that's crumbly and bumbly. That won't do. Let's have a look at this valve and see if it is even still one directional. Boy, that's on there. We can We can take this off and cap it, and that'll fix our exhaust leakage if that's in fact leaking, or I can cut it off and weld it, and that will also fix it. This placement is obviously either incorrect or the hose is incorrect. Let's test the valves. If they still work fine, which it does not look like they do, but that might just be ambient heat. Maybe I just have the wrong hose, but I got to get back on the road, so we got to cap this off for now. I'll see if I can get these off with a little bit of leverage without destroying everything. There we go. So if you get it to budge, it's going to come off. All right. I can see directly through it. There's absolutely no thing. This apparently the temperature is just too hot for this valve in this location. I'll do some research. Maybe I can put them farther downstream where it's not as hot. But this didn't last 600 miles. This lasted 0-100 miles. Oh, we're back on the driver's side. I got my little cap capped off here. This did not work at all. But since the hose does run from the crankcase, well, the tube, I'm going to, just for fun, for the next couple of 100 miles, zip tie this plastic jug here. And it might get a little melty. It might deform. I don't know. But then I'm going to stick the hose in it and just see how much oil collects into this and see how big of a problem we are addressing. So let me try to secure this in place just for fun. Catch thing, and as I said, being right above the exhaust, it may melt, it may deform beyond all recognition, but the hose is stuck in there, so at least the vapors have some place to swirl around and maybe collect some of that oil so it doesn't just drip all over our semi-clean undercarriage here. Well, before we drop this thing off the lift and drive 600 miles or 1,200 miles or however many miles, the power steering box is wet. And these fittings are wet, but I couldn't get them any tighter. And from the top, it kind of looks like it's seeping out of the top seal of the box. So I'm going to degrease that, clean it up, and try to figure out where that's leaking from. Because if it's just one of the lines, that's an easy fix. If it's one of the seals of the box, this one is remanufactured. Maybe we'll get a newer, better steering box. They're not cheap, but you know, you got to be able to steer. Still have a little bit of a tiny drippy leak right here on this evil energy line. And I thought, you know, I can live with that. I can tighten that up and remake just that one. But now I'm seeing that this line is also getting a drip. These evil energy transmission cooler lines, I'm not going to recommend them. I'm going to redo those lines and get this thing leak proof, at least for the transmission, and then hopefully for the power steering, and then eventually the oil. At least the gas isn't pouring out anymore. I've got the steering box pretty well cleaned off. It's not perfect, but I think I'll be able to tell where the leak is coming from. And it looks like it's coming from the top of the seals there. So I'm going to go ahead and hit it with some of this. It likely will not work, but I'm going to give it a try. It's not even very low. I'm just going to add a little bit of this, see if it softens up the seals and slows us down. Did a little checking. A new steering box is $400-ish. A remanufactured one by the same company is $250. So probably another remanufactured one if that's the problem. I'll let you know in 600 miles. I gotta get loaded up. That's gonna do it for this episode of Hopper's Hot Rod. As always, we're not happy until you're not happy. I'm thirsty. Thanks for watching.